He usually takes the photo.
Yeah. Did you start it?
Huh?
All right, well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin today's ceremony, I would ask that everyone turn their pagers and cell phones, if anybody still carries a pager, to vibrate or silent. On behalf of the Commander, Coast Guard Incident Management Assistance Team and the Supervisor Public Information Assist Team, we welcome and thank each of you, crew members, shipmates, family members, and distinguished guests for joining us for the commissioning of Chief Petty Officer Paul Roszkowski to Chief Warrant Officer. I'm Chief Warrant Officer Kimberly Smith, and the PIOT Supervisor and Master of Ceremonies for today. Chief Roszkowski is about to embark on a new career path on his acceptance and promotion to Chief Warrant Officer. Coast Guard Chief Warrant Officers are technical specialists with strong leadership skills. They have demonstrated a potential for greater responsibility than normally expected of senior enlisted members. Chief Warrant Officers are mature individuals with extensive experience in their specialty, making them capable of performing duties in both an administrative or technical capacity. They are extended the same privileges as commissioned officers. Chief Warrant Officers fully understand the challenges of today's Coast Guard and are able to communicate the missions, goals, and objectives with the enlisted technician, as well as understand the management requirements of the commissioned officer. By bridging an essential communication link, Chief Warrant Officers significantly contribute to the efficiency and effectiveness of the service. In recognition of this important link, Chief Warrant Officers are highly regarded within the Coast Guard, and that is why, at the commencement of their acceptance of the commissioning warrant and their acknowledgement of the new and increased responsibilities, we are conducting this ceremony. I would now like to introduce Sergeant Major Philip V. Malarski, U.S. Marine Corps retired. Sergeant Major Malarski enlisted in the Marine Corps following graduation from Lane Technical High School in Chicago in 1954. He went through recruit training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. He was through recruit training at Marine Corps and has served with the 3rd Marine Division, the 87th Special Rifle Company, Company B, and the 9th Infantry Battalion and 2nd Battalion, 24th Marines. In March of 1979, he was assigned as the Sergeant Major of the 2nd Battalion, 24th Marines. During this tour, he was awarded the Navy Commendation Medal, as well as a Certificate of Commendation from the Inspector General of the Marine Corps. While serving as Sergeant Major of the 224, he was assigned additional duty of representing the Marine Corps Reserve at the Department of Defense Reserve Forces Senior Enlisted Advisor Council. Sergeant Major Malarski also served as the Sergeant Major of the 2nd Marine Amphibious Brigade. During August of 1984, the brigade successfully participated in Operation Phalanx Sound 2, the largest reserve exercise since the Korean conflict. In 1984, he was selected as the 1st Reserve Division Sergeant Major and served as the 1st Senior Enlisted Reserve Advisor to the Deputy Chief of Staff for Reserve Affairs. He retired from the Marine Corps in 1988 after 33 years of service. Sergeant Major Malarski is married to the former Barbara Mazak of Chicago. They have 6 children and 21 grandchildren, of which Paul is the first.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about Paul and his rapid growth. Coast Guard, pardon me, gentlemen. Captain Anthony Light. Or my girl. Well, we as men, we like to be macho and we like to be, we can do it ourselves. But we need the women behind us. We didn't have them women, we'd be in big trouble. Except my daughter and my wife. passion is in there. I miss the military. I miss the military very, very much. If I could have stayed in the military till I was 80, I wouldn't have any camera. I didn't get all the 3 careers I had. The Marine Corps was the fondest, brought the fondest memories. I'm usually a very vibrant speaker, but I'm very embarrassed by my voice today. So
You don't have to worry, Papa. It's okay. We can hear you.
Renee,
You're doing fine.
I didn't answer you. But
No, I'm telling you.
I fixed it.
God almighty. Well, that's Paul's problem.
Thanks.
And the dog. But I wanted to make mention, I spoke briefly at one of your sit-ins. The one where, and he, I lose my train of thought. You're in charge.
Absolutely.
Every time I get off track, just I step up. I'll tell you, out of all the things I've done, and I've done many, many things, God has been very, very good to me. I'm 79 years old. I've been the vice president of 2 companies, plus the first sergeant major of the Marine Corps Reserve. And maybe there's a little story in there for you. And I'll wait to make it quick. We had a sergeant major in the Marine Corps, sergeant major of the Marine Corps. He was down here by the airport and he was stopping over. And he said, anybody want to go down and meet him and talk to him? Fine. So I went down there and I got in an argument with him about a military issue. And we left friends, and 2 weeks later I got a phone call. What had happened is the Secretary of the Navy created a board of reservists, enlisted reservists, and these enlisted reservists were to give the enlisted an arm in decision making, which I thought was really, really great. And I kind of got into it. He says, but see that sergeant major over there? Not me. See that sergeant major over there? He don't belong. And he said, why doesn't he belong? He says, he doesn't belong because he's a regular. And I'm not going back to the regular reserve routine. I'm telling you a story that's 20 years old. 40, 20, 40 years old. And he said at that board, he said, I do not want any regulars in this unit because I'm responsible for reserves. And he said, therefore I want reserve in this class. Well, you all know the Marine Corps is a kind of inbred, for lack of a better word, an inbred outfit, and it's very, I don't want to say it's political, but it's fast moments. And in the process of that, he said, we got to come up with a sergeant major who is, I guess, can talk. And at that time I could. And he said, we'll go ahead. And I met a sergeant major in the Marine Corps Reserve who was at a bar and an introduction at O'Hare Field. Mickey Maitland. invited down to the headquarters of the Marine Corps and sat down before the commandant. Closest I ever sat to the commandant. And he says, how would you like to be the next Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps Reserve? And I says, huh? Again, being as inbred as they are, there's only one commandant. There's only one Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. And I'm down the line. He says, we're going to create a special position that will make you will become first Sergeant Major of the division, the Marine Corps Division. Well, that was all I had to hear. I just packed my bags on, here I go. And I tell you, I had the grandest time with those Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, Air Reserve guys. That's mine. We even lost the car. And they were really, really good to me. And I never realized that there was another branch of the service besides the Marine Corps. I can't express to you my feelings about how I feel about all of the military. And not because it was right. I can't remember time frame, sorry. But it was right in that area where everybody was fighting for the dollars. They wanted to impress Congress for the money. And I thought, oh, this should be easy, but it didn't turn out very easy. I went to conferences, I sat in Congress, testified in Congress, me, the poor Polish kid from Milwaukee and Dana, or not Dana, but
Belmont.
and it was a thrilling experience, and I hope I did some good. Even wrote an article about it in a magazine, my picture. But I was much handsomer, and much younger, and with the hair bush shaved. And my wife, every drill or every time we moved out, say, here, we gotta shave my head, and she So, that's kind of my first story. But I will never forget that opportunity that God, I feel, gave me to become this first Sergeant Major Marine Corps Division. Secondly, I met some of the most outstanding people because we used to meet quarterly, and there were, everybody got this old whatever around their collar, and that makes them important. I look on the collar and I say, you guys screwed me all up. You got gold everywhere. Anyways, my grandson at this time, this didn't happen concurrently, but my grandson, Paul, who we're here for today, he loved the water. He loved the sea. He didn't love the ocean as much as he loved the sea, the lakes, and the areas that joined the Cargo mental block.
Coast
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, just thank you, girl. And we embarked on becoming a seaman, I guess, in the Coast Guard. The neat thing was, he loved it so much, I started reading his articles in magazines. I found out he went to school. And now he is committed to basic violating sin. In the Marine Corps, the only time you would make from, let's say, sergeant to gunnery sergeant or whatever, was if you were combat veteran, would have performed some heroic act or acts. So I said, well, that's the way they do it in the Coast Guard, that's the way they do it in the Coast Guard. Mom, my wife explained to me that in the Coast Guard, you've got your structure. And I understand what the one, we call him the gunner in the Marine Corps. And that gunner was a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And in the Marine Corps, the gunner sits in the commander in the command tent or wherever we're at, and he establishes part of the battle plan of what goes on, because he's the expert on weapons. So, and I'm sure all of you, one way or another, are in charge of something pretty damn important. And that importance is protecting our country and trying to make these young kids understand the importance of being in the military. God has been good to me. Gave me the most beautiful wife in the whole world. Gave me 6 wonderful children, including Judy. Along came Judy was Paul, and there's Laura back there. What's your name again? And I have no complaints about it. I dropped dead here. I don't want to do that. I would say I was a happy man. So, in conclusion, I know I've been up here probably 10 or 15 minutes. So in conclusion, I'm going to steal from my speech that I give when I used to give to 1,000 and sometimes 100 and sometimes 10. When God gave us the rules of life, He says, no man should ever love another man like he loves his wife. And I said, no man ever loved a Marine or the military as I love Marines and I love the military. Thank you very much.
Chief Roszkowski has successfully successfully competed for appointment to warrant officer and will be commissioned as such. His signature on the oath and the certificate from the President of the United States is outward and visible sign of the commitment he has made to the President and the American people. His enlisted and officer experience will provide him a unique perspective in carrying out this commitment and in meeting the role and missions of the United States Coast Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Captain Anthony Lloyd, Commanding Officer of the Coast Guard Incident Management Assistance Team.
Officers and crew of the IMAT, Sergeant Major and family and friends, welcome. We're getting ready to do a commissioning ceremony, and so it's it's an honor to be here, and it's just a great Coast Guard day. I'll be brief, and I just want to thank again Sergeant Major, you for your presence here, for your service to the country, to the nation, and for your example. And so it's just great to be a part of that. So for Chief Roszkowski, I just want to hit 3 points, and for him and for the crew, for ourselves. As I've gotten on in my career, I've learned to think a little more deeply about things, and that's good. I can learn, and so I want to share some observations about your commission, about an officer's commission in the United States Coast Guard, in the service of the nation. I see it as a test and a trust. So it's going to be a test of your character, a test of your family and friends, because you're going to be asked to do one of the most difficult things that a human can do, which is to be an example and lead other individuals. So it's a test, but it's also a trust. You've been entrusted with the authority of a commissioned warrant officer in the Coast Guard, which gives you the tools that you need to do your job as a leader. Now, as a warrant officer, you're also a technician. So in your craft, you do bring that technical skill, which sort of bridges the gap in the organization, so that we can get our work done, we can accomplish the mission. Now, the Public Information Assist team and our public affairs experts are near and dear to my heart. This is the second opportunity that I've had to be in charge of them, to lead them, and we're at a point in our nation's history when being professionals in the midst of a complex messaging environment like an incident or whatever is never more critical, getting that right. And so that's why the skills of our public affairs competencies, such as Chief and the Public Information Assist team, never more needed or valued in the course of our service's history. So you're really at a very critical point. So that technical skill is critical, but you have to combine it with the leadership required of a commissioned officer, and I know you're up to that task. The last thing is, so what's the goal, right? What's the goal? You know, we always want to make sure we have a clear vision of where we're going and the way that I see it. And I heard this recently. Our goal as leaders is to be found worthy of the position that we've been placed in. And so that's your goal. At the end of the day, when people take a look at what you've accomplished and the leadership that you've tried to enact, is to be found worthy of the task and the responsibility that you've been given. I know you're up to the task. So congratulations, and back to you.
As is customary with appointment to Chief Warrant Officer, each appointee, I'm sorry, we're not there yet. We're going to jump backwards. Now Captain Lloyd is going to conduct the oath of office.
Chief, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter,
discharge the duties of the office of which I am about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
As is customary now, with appointment to Chief Warrant Officer, each appointee selects someone to place the boards on their shoulders. This person may be a spouse, parent, supervisor, mentor, or a person who has had a significant impact on their Coast Guard career. Would Renee Roszkowski, Paul's parents, Judith and Paul Roszkowski, and Paul's grandfather, Sergeant Major Philip Malarski, U.S. Marine Corps retired, please join us.
You just stay with me. We'll come back to you.
To all who shall see the presence greeting, know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Paul Roszkowski, I do appoint this officer to the grade of Chief Warrant Officer 2 in the United States Coast Guard to rank as such from the first day of June 2014. This officer will therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the office to which appointed by doing and performing all manner of things thereunto belonging. And I do strictly charge and require those officers and other personnel of lesser rank to render such obedience as is due an officer of this grade and position. And this officer is to observe and follow such orders and directions from time to time as may be given by me or the future President of the United States of America or other superior officers acting in accordance with the laws of the United States of America. This commission is to continue in force during the pleasure of the President of the United States of America for the time being, under the provisions of the public laws relating to officers of the armed forces of the United States of America and the component thereof in which this appointment is made. Done at the City of Washington, this first day of June in the year of our Lord 2014, and in the independence of the United States of America by the 237th year. By the President, signed by J. Johnson, Secretary of Homeland Security.
Wait. 1 second. 1, 2, 3.
Is everybody done?
It is a tradition as a Chief Petty Officer to pass on your experience and your rank devices to a Petty Officer that is ready to take the next step in their career. This person should best embody the traditions and values of the Chief Petty Officer. It is also a tradition that the first person to salute a newly commissioned Chief Warrant Officer receives a silver dollar. Tradition holds that a newly commissioned officer must buy their first salute as a show of respect for their superior enlisted personnel who have helped the officer achieve their commission. Petty Officer Mariana O'Leary, front and center. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you the United States Coast Guard's newest Chief Warrant Officer, Chief Warrant Officer Paul Roszkowski. Roszkowski, would you like to come forward and say a few words?
I usually don't say a ton of words, but since today is my day, you got me. I actually did write something briefly, because I've been thinking about this day for a couple of years now. And Brandon, you're right, I keep seeing the weird things out there. According to Brandon Brewer, when presenting something, you should be brief, be brilliant, and be gone. I can't guarantee that I'm going to do that today, but I'm going to try. I'd like to thank everybody that's here today. You've all played a huge role in my life, in my career, even the newest people at the IMAT. It's been a learning experience for all of us, and I look forward to continuing working with you guys while I'm still here till July and in the future. I obviously want to thank my wife for putting up with me for 12 years now. I'm sorry I've missed all the holidays and anniversaries, but I think LA is going to make up for that. I obviously want to thank my parents and all the trouble that they had getting out here yesterday with canceled flights and rerouting, but they made it. Thank you for my grandfather for the wonderful words, and the rest of my family for coming out. My Aunt Laura, my godmother. There are some people that can't be here today that I absolutely need to thank. My brother, who is Skyping in from Texas. The Air Force would not give him leave to be here, so we got him here anyway. Public Affairs is a really small community in the Coast Guard. If you don't know, there's, 46,000 people in the Coast Guard. There's about 87 of us. And the Chief Petty Officer side is even smaller, and the Chief Warrant Officer is smaller than that. And as they say, when one door closes, another one opens. And about a little more than an hour ago, one of my mentors retired after 30 years of service. And his was a ceremony that I said I always wanted to be at. I did get a chance to talk to him yesterday, but Adam Wine is retiring today. He was my first chief as a newly graduated PA3, and he took me into his family and mentored me the whole way until I made first class and he left. And I want to thank him for his service. And as the tradition says, you don't buy your first set of rank devices, and these ones were provided by the Warrants Midget, who also could not be here today. They are at Adam's ceremony. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Well, some of you may, because you were either there with me or you've been there before. As a member of the PIAT, I've done things and been to places that, had you asked me as a non-rate, I would have never dreamed I would be doing or visiting. I've cherished every one of those moments, from my first experience with the team flying over the source of the Deepwater Horizon spill, looking down on dozens of ships trying desperately to stop the flow of oil, as around them more ships and aircraft tried to disperse, skim, burn, or do whatever they could to keep the oil from hitting the shore. I'll always remember the devastation of Hurricane Sandy in New York, New Jersey, and the thanks we received every time somebody saw us in uniform. The people of Paulsboro, New Jersey, Vicksburg, Mississippi, the motor vessel Gyra, and the summer I spent in Puerto Rico, the ruined harbor, and the lives of Crescent City, California. I can tell you what it's like to be a member of our team, but until you truly experience the reception you get when you walk into a command post and see the look of relief from an incident commander because the public affairs pros from Dover have arrived, you will never understand. And I've been using that pros from Dover phrase for a long, long time before the I've reached another goal in my career, and I wouldn't be here today without the support of all of those who have taken the time to mentor me and those who have worked with me over the years. You've taught me so much as I've come up through the ranks. I wanted to just take this moment to share some of the nuggets of wisdom that I've been shared with, picked up, or stepped in along the way. They are: keep things in perspective. Sometimes you have to change your perspective. To be a good leader, you need followers. Make the best of a bad situation. Get to know your people, inspire your people, and remember to keep calm and call PI. Keep things in perspective. There are times life is a lot like the Jungle Cruise, going around in circles, one corny joke after another. No matter how much you turn the wheel of the boat, you can only go where the track leads you. The natives are always restless, and no matter how much height there is, the backside of water still looks a lot like the front side of water. As you pass through the jungle of life, don't forget to stop and admire some of my favorite plants. There's one over there, and there's some over here. Sometimes you have to change your perspective. Keep things in perspective. Sometimes you have to change your perspective. Anything is peaceful from 1,353 feet up, or from 36,000 feet up for that matter. Having spent a lot of time in aircraft, as long as the air conditioning is working and there's no turbulence, you are good to go. Remember to keep your hands and arms inside the aircraft at all times. Hold on to your hats and glasses. Do not pull down on the safety bar. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las puertas, and take time to enjoy the view. To be a leader, you need followers. You need a luck dragon to properly conduct any quest. To expand on that thought, you should always have a good traveling companion. Be it good colleagues, friends, or a stuffed rabbit, monkey, or piggy. There are always better stories to tell when there's more than one person there to experience it, and that way you're never stuck drinking alone. Make the best of a bad situation. Sometimes, not everything is shiny. No plan, no matter how great it is, ever survives first contact with the enemy. Be prepared for contingencies and adjustments on the fly. This can include, but is not limited to, state representatives who ignore or try to change the plan at the 11th hour, 3 major storms hitting the grounded vessel you are trying to free, migrants swimming ashore in the middle of your response, finding that glass of beer full of shards of glass, fishermen who are trying to stir up the local media, or, well, to paraphrase what I said earlier, I've got a whale of a tale to tell. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your message is, without action, you are only making platitudes. Inspire your people. As a leader, I've learned that it often takes one little spark of inspiration to create some of our best future leaders and changes. Inspire those around you. Encourage them to try new things and do not accept the way things that have always been done. If they can dream it, they can do it. Let them test the limits and break through. Go the distance with them. Tomorrow is just a dream away. Get to know your people. As you work with people, you learn we're kind of all a little bit like Dumbo. Each of us has a unique thing that helps us soar. A good leader notices these individual characteristics and provides the magical feather that makes us believe we can fly. It's the great leader that gets us to understand that we never needed the feather in the first place. If you can keep your head about you when all else is losing theirs, obviously you haven't checked with your answering service. Keep calm and call the PI. So take it or leave it. Keep things in perspective. Sometimes you have to change your perspective. To be a leader, you need followers. Make the best of a bad situation. Get to know your people, inspire your people, and remember, keep calm and call the PI. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. As I look back on the last 15 years, I realize that this has been one of the wildest rides in the wilderness, and I have loved every minute of it. Stay classy.
Well, this was supposed to be the end of our presentation or the ceremony. However, we have one more presentation that we need to do. So, Paul, you can stay there.
I'll stay here.
I don't know what this is, so
I do.
somebody else is going to have to explain this.
There was some time ago that my wife and I decided to buy an old house. It was Victorian. It was kind of run down. She said, how long? How long to fix it? 21 years later.
But in the meantime,
But in the meantime, we've done a lot of things. We raised the house. Brick face. And we let it fall over if you wanted to. But in the dirt. And the dirt was deep.
it says manufactured by PJ and his grandpa, 1989.
Well, in the military, I don't know if I can do this. All houses goes and travels to your family. Always.
Well, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Chief Warrant Officer Roszkowski and his family, thank you for attending. You are now invited to explore the old Coast Guard Station and partake of some of the refreshments in the back. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Well, we can talk more.
Yeah,
We can
we'll
talk
give
more
him a call
later.